Welcome back to this Money Control live stream. You're watching Closing Bell with me, Nandita Khemka.
And I'm Yatin Mota.
Well, looks like the countdown is on for record highs once again, given the fact that we are just about 150 or 200 points short of a fresh record on the Nifty. Around the 20,100 mark is where we are at right now. If you look at the mid-cap end of the markets, the mid-cap index has hit a fresh record high today. If you look at the advanced decline ratio, they were largely in the ratio 1:1, and almost all the sectors were participating in the rally today, given the fact that the Nifty Bank index has also gained somewhere around 1.5% or thereabouts, and you had participation from heavyweights like Axis Bank, ICICI Bank, HDFC Bank. So all of them have participated in today's rally. Aside of banks, you had autos doing well. First December is when we will be getting the auto sales figures for the month of November. Ahead of that, automakers are upbeat. IT sector also doing fairly well, up somewhere around 1% or thereabouts. Among the individual movers today, on the Nifty, you had the Axis Bank, Hero Moto, M&M, Wipro, Tata Motors. These are some of the top gainers. On the flip side, ONGC, Divi's Lab, Nestle, Titan and Eicher were in a bit of in a spot of bother, so to say. But quite a few movers in the mid-cap end of the markets as well. Yatin, what are you spotting?
So, if you look at the mid-cap end of the market, quite active, and we have the Nifty, which is almost surged above the 20,000 mark. So, the obvious reason for the mid-caps to cheer is the kind of index levels which we are trading, especially the mid-cap index, which has already hit a record high. We are looking at stocks like Aster DM, which went up as much as 19% post decision to sell their GCC hospital chain business. Opened flat, but yes, strong momentum over the day. Also, we had the Adani group of companies like Adani Total Gas, Adani Transmission doing well in trade. Those were the stocks which were up yesterday also, and today also double-digit gains coming in. Apart from that, we had Torrent Pharma, Torrent Power, beg your pardon, Minda Corporation and Sundaram Finance, all of these stocks surging anywhere between 5 to 10%. On the flip side, we had Ather. This is one chemical company whose Surat plant caught fire. 25 people are said to be injured, and post that news came out, the stock was down nearly 8.5%. Some profit taking in Adani Power, that stock was down 3%, and Phoenix Limited as well as Amber Enterprises continue to be under pressure. Both of these stocks down nearly 3%.
All right, those are the movers and shakers in the mid-cap end of the markets. But with that, let's take a look at the stocks that are on our radar this afternoon. Starting with Tata Motors. Of course, this stock has seen a lot of buying interest for the last 1 month. In fact, if you look at the last 1 month chart, the stock is up somewhere around 13% or thereabouts. Of course, Tata Tech will be listing on the bourses today, and the kind of solid subscription figures that we've seen, and if you're if a grey market premium is anything to go by, we could expect the listing at somewhere around 80% premium or thereabouts. So a lot of excitement around Tata Tech listing, and as a result of that, Tata Motors gaining once again. In fact, it topped that 700 mark for the first time, hitting a fresh high in today's session. Aside of that, other factors also working in favor of Tata Motors. Auto sales figures expected on the 1st of December, plus the stock was stuck in a range for quite some time. In the last 1 month or so, it has managed to break out of a sideways trend. Analysts expect strong growth in the JLR business. We already know that the company had increased its FY24 EBIT margin guidance from 6% to 8%. So these factors already working in favor, and CLSA had also raised its target price to 841 from 803. So CLSA sees more legroom in the stock to go up from here. In fact, JLR business is also expected to pare its debt as well as turn net cash by FY25 end. So these factors, of course, leading more legs to the rally when it comes to Tata Motors. Aside of that, I was talking to Mayuresh Joshi in the morning, and he said that with the launch of EV products, it is expected to gain market share in that segment as well. But for now, he believes that the stock could see some bit of consolidation, as all the good news may already be in the price, and he expects any kind of strong demand comeback in Chinese and North American markets to drive the next leg of re-rating for Tata Motors. In fact, he says that it could take a couple of quarters for that to happen, given the kind of collapse we've seen in the Chinese financial as well as real estate sector. But once the demand comes back, China rather being a very key market for JLR, that could lead to some bit of a re-rating for the stock. But for now, the stock is doing well, cruising ahead in trade, and tomorrow Tata Tech listing, of course, is something that the street will be watching out for.
Absolutely, and this is one stock we'll watch out for, and the kind of listing we saw in IREDA today also, that clearly shows the interest in the primary markets, and probably Tata Technologies will be no less. given the fact that strong listing is expected there. But the other stock on our radar today is Manappuram Finance. Now we have seen a lot of brokerages really bullish on the stock. Gold prices are at record highs, and probably this means that higher collateral lies with these gold financing companies, which increases the margin of safety. Now Morgan Stanley today has an overweight call. Their new report suggests a target of 200 rupees per share. Now if you look at the company's analyst meet takeaways, they've guided for a 20% loan growth and a 20% return on equity in FY24. And in terms of the overall return ratios, it seems that it is one of those gold loan companies wherein return on equity could be quite healthy, apart from the loan growth being quite robust at around 20%. Now if you look at the gold loans, they've guided for a 8% growth in FY24, and they will focus on maintaining yields at 20 to 21%. As far as non-gold, non-MFI business is concerned, they are expected to keep their credit costs lower, which means that not only does it provide an overall cushion to the business, but also improves the profitability. Now if you look at the company's MFI business, they are looking to launch their MFI business IPO, which is Ashirvad MFI. They are waiting for some clarity from the regulator when it comes to the RHP which has been filed, and once those papers get cleared, there could be a potential unlocking of value at the subsidiary level for Manappuram Finance. So let's see whether or not they are able to get the IPO for this particular MFI entity soon, apart from the gold loan business which is already doing well in trade.
Well, that's true. Some bit of leg up coming in for Manappuram, given the fact that gold prices have hit a fresh record. But the second stock on my list, of course, is Zomato. Given the fact that we saw a block deal in the counter, Alipay is expected, in fact, reportedly may have sold 3.5% stake in the counter. Remember, SoftBank had already sold somewhere around a 10 stake or thereabouts sometime in October. There were concerns that stake sales by investors could be an overhang, at least in the short term. But experts believe that there is enough appetite in the market, and the flow of shares in the market is being absorbed pretty good. And if you look at Zomato, the street has already re-rated the stock quite a bit, given the fact that in the second quarter as well, the company had reported a good profit growth in excess of 30 crores or thereabouts. So, and aside of that, Blinkit as well as Hyperpure, the outlook for these two businesses also looking pretty strong. If once these segments become EBITDA positive, that's something that could lead to some bit of a re-rating when it comes to Zomato. So that's the other stock that was on my radar. Of course, the stocks are up somewhere around 90% on a YTD basis, and even today, despite the block deal, the stock was up somewhere around 2.5% or thereabouts.
Absolutely, and Zomato, that stock is in focus because whenever the block deal happens, it happens at a very short discount, and probably the FI interest right now in the stock is very high, given the fact that they have been talking about more on the path to profitability, which is clearly working for the stock price. From the lows, the stock has almost gained 3 times, and currently also trading above that 115 rupees mark.
Well, those are all the stocks on our radar this afternoon, but of course sitting pretty at somewhere around 20,100. We'll have to see whether the momentum continues and whether the distance with the record high gets abridged anytime soon. But with that, it's a wrap on this edition of Closing Bell. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Stay tuned to Money Control for all your other news and updates.